But there's some interesting things there. If you look at this CC line, right? CC stands for carbon copy. This is a carbon copy machine. It is invented, I think, 1805. And a brilliant invention in its own. You take a piece of carbon paper, you put it onto this machine, you write something once, and there's a copy made, right? At the time, that was amazing savings. And, you know, we look at a word processing software, for example. In this case, it might be Google Docs. It's a, you know, piece of paper, right? And when we think about this, what we realize is that almost everything in our offices today is still something from the era before computers, right? We're talking about desktop because, you know, on a desktop we have paper A4 format, we have carbon copy and email goes back to mail, you know, back to horse carriers carrying papers around. All of these things have been around with us for ages, right? But there's something happening in the workplace that makes this a problem for us. This is how people communicate today. These are, you know, messaging software, live video, images. These are technologies that come after the computer, that come native on the mobile phone. They don't have a version that existed before there were mobile phones, before there were computers. And 50% of people in the workforce in 2 years will be millennials. There will be people who haven't grown up sending paper mail, who haven't grown up preparing papers. When they come into an office, when they come into a company, they're confronted with an environment that is truly alien to them, because they grew up on messaging software, on the ability to take an image instantly and send it to someone else, to click a button, be on a live video with someone, have a video call, right? And when they come into an office and they're confronted with the culture of sending mail, with the culture of making presentations, preparing documents, which are written in a completely different style than when you're using messaging software, they're subjected to almost what I would call microaggressions. You can tell this yourself. You use, let's say, a search function in your email, and it takes more than 5 seconds. What happens? You get frustrated, right? If you click on an article, maybe on Facebook, and the website loads slowly, we know that most people will not complete this. Will complete that transition to that website after a few seconds, which is why we build instant articles, to improve the speed at which things load, to make more people actually get to their destination. We don't have a lot of patience today, and that's probably thanks to Google, because Google taught us any information that is available on the internet can be retrieved within an instant. Wait time is no longer acceptable. We get frustrated if we wait. And when someone who's never worked with any of these technologies or pre-technologies comes into an office and suddenly supposed to send mail, they want to take time off, they have to send mail to their manager, the manager takes some time to return. All of these things are really, really frustrating on a day-to-day basis. And then they quit on you and they go to companies that provide better options, especially the ability to work mobile. It just doesn't make sense. While a lot of workflows that we see in companies today only work on a desktop, on a machine at a specific place, right? When you grew up only knowing mobile, it's just not acceptable. So yeah, if you're looking at this chasm between the world of consumer software and the world of consumer communication, and we're looking at what offices do, this is not acceptable anymore for most companies. And then the question becomes, how do we go there? This is, by the way, not just technology, this is also behaviors. When you're growing up today, you expect to have a voice. Everyone has a voice, everyone has maybe a social media account, an Instagram account, everyone can make themselves heard. But when you're in an office and you have email, can you send an email to the entire company without getting fired? Probably not, right? And so this has to be addressed, right? How do we get there? If you look at the timeline of communication, just over the last about 15 years, how communication has changed, right? The first social networks, the first ways for people to express themselves on the internet was text-based. Hey, I'm in Italy, it's beautiful, right? Move forward a few years and it's pictures, right? A picture at more than 1,000 words. Now we're roughly here, video. A lot of things happen with video. We have live streaming video, we have the ability to call anyone and talk with them in video in real time. And in a few years we'll be over here. VR, AR. But companies are all the way over there still. They're making documents and emails. And that just doesn't work anymore. So how do we get over that? How do we get over this chasm, over this huge divide between consumer technology and expectations and what is available in companies right now? Apps. Apps don't scale. If apps scale, if apps worked, everyone in businesses would be using them. You would be taking your time off using an app. And you would be ordering your supplies using an app. And you would do a lot of things in an office using an app. But the truth is you're mostly using email. Or if you're lucky, maybe a mobile web page. And the question is, why don't apps scale? Well, until about last year, most companies didn't even think much about this. But where we come from in terms of corporate IT is tightly controlled computer systems. Right? Bring your own device wasn't really acceptable, but if you think about it, if we say bring your own device will never happen, and we're saying at the same time, businesses will never be mobile. Because very few businesses have the money and the time to give every employee a mobile phone. So if you want to be mobile, either people bring their own mobile devices and we accept that, or we're saying only companies like Facebook and Microsoft and some of the tech companies who give out phones to their employees will ever be mobile. And I don't think anyone here truly believes that to be the case. But from an engineering point of view, bring your own device looks something like this. Bring your own device means dealing with a million different flavors of phones and screen sizes and operating systems, some really, really old shambling zombies, some really, really new, but maybe they have other features that you need to exclusively support. And that doesn't work when we're building apps, especially in an enterprise. When you're building consumer apps, and everyone is building consumer apps, because if you're not usable on a mobile phone, if your business cannot be reached on a mobile phone today, then you're probably dead, you're not around anymore. Right? Because most people shop from their mobile phones and do their interactions. But businesses are different. Our return of investment is different. When you have 10,000 employees, that's not hundreds of thousands or millions of potential consumers. So you can't really afford spending all that much, and there is a lot to spend, especially in enterprise. We have to solve identity management. We only want employees to use the phone, the app that we create for our companies. We don't want anyone else. Whenever a file is uploaded, we want to be able to scan it for malware. If you don't do that, right, and you pay dearly for this. There's companies who ask for another $2 or $3 for advanced threat protection of your inbox for scanning malware, right? There's a lot of things you have to build. Security, privacy, regulation. In many countries, there's specific regulation of how companies can process the data of their employees. Right? Messaging, infrastructure, a lot of work. And then there's the rollout. How do people get people to even use your app? I've never seen an app in a company that is used by even 50% of the people in there. And then the logical question is, why would you do it? Why would you build something that only 20-30% of people use? Which is why there is no real apps in enterprise right now. There's consumer apps. People are using WhatsApp, people are using Line, people are using WeChat, but that comes with other problems, like what happens if I fire the guy who has the corporate WhatsApp group, right? They don't auto-provision the people that come new into the business. It's a manual thing that you have to do, and how many ex-employees are sticking in your large groups? It's an example from kind of the investments we do at Facebook, right? You have to, when you're talking about security, you have to allow password reset, multi-factor authentication, you have to find that accounts are compromised. All of these things no one can afford to build. So apps aren't around in enterprise. Right? Maintenance. And even if we solve that, so how do we go mobile for work? If it's not apps, how does work go mobile? Right? Well, let's look at communications channel, right? Like email comes from here. It comes from dipping a feather into ink and writing some letters on paper, giving it to a horse carrier and sending it over somewhere. This is where we're coming from. And this is how the same thing looks today, right? This is an inbox. It's actually a screenshot of my inbox from a few days ago. And this is not spam. These are all companies that I might have done business with in the past. This is actually, I think it's Google Inbox. All the spam has already been filtered out. But what you don't see in here is any private communication, any high-value communication between me and someone else. It's all the receiving channel for advertisement right now. That's the reality for a lot of communication on the mail platform. Let's take the phone, right? We look at the phone and, well, we need block lists and do not call lists, because by the time businesses and enterprises get onto our communications channels, in this case, the phone, well, they use it to sell us services. So we get cold calls and we get people who don't talk to us, and eventually we block our phone channels and we move somewhere else. And where have we moved? We've moved to the messaging platform, right? There's two native channels that only exist on mobile, that didn't exist before. They're not like mail and email. One of them is notifications, but we're already going bankrupt. Almost everyone is getting too many notifications. Many people are turning them off, right? So it's also another channel that is basically overloaded. Channel overload is a real thing. And there's messaging apps. The messaging apps, for now, many of them don't allow businesses. Guess why? Because everyone is mortified that this will happen when businesses come in. It's a really hard problem to solve. We all know eventually businesses will go into messaging apps, but if we're not careful, people will go somewhere else again because they cannot have their high-value communication anymore. It's a famous graph here, right? Cost of communication goes down over time. The inventory, the amount of signal goes up, but human attention is static. It does not change. So how do we deal with this? How do we deal with so much communication coming in? We need solutions, right? How do we manage channel overload? In Facebook, we built a tool called Workplace. It's a private copy of Facebook for your company. So you have a private version of Facebook for your company which leverages machine learning and feed-based inventory to show you the information that is most valuable rather than the information that came in last, right? On email, you open your email in the morning, what's on top? The thing you got last. Is it the most important thing? Pretty sure it's not, right? The Facebook newsfeed and other technologies using machine learning try to put things on top. And using Workplace in the enterprise allows you to do this. It allows you to show the most relevant things and protect that overloaded channel, right? This is how the product looks. It looks exactly like Facebook. The side benefit, you don't have to train anyone because everyone knows how to already use it. It has multi-company groups, it has video chat, all these kind of things. And for the app question, we allow you to build bots. And bots, you don't have to worry about all of these things because we handle it on the platform. Our engineering teams update and maintain all these things, including those terrible many versions of Android for you. So you can write this, you can spend 5% of the time to write bots, things that automate your business workflows and allow you to move your company mobile, truly mobile, at a fraction of the cost, right? And Vietnam is really leading on this. We have a lot of companies here in Vietnam working on bots, on moving their company truly mobile. We have an insurance company here. They build an entire flow for their agents to auto-answer questions in chat and then generate an offer, a PDF, send it to the mobile device. All of this integrated, replacing flows that use SMS and faxes and so on, and moving companies truly mobile. Thank you.
Thank you for your